Have any of you seen this video before? And if you have, how long ago was it that you seen it? Because this does look pretty old, but if it was prior to Twin Towers, then I would really take heed to what's being shown in that clip. Welcome back everyone to more strange and creepy videos. Like and sub up, let's dive in.
Watch this. You can clearly see her black eye makeup when she blinks. Right here. Eyes are closed. Swinging her head, eyes are closed. I don't see any white eyelids. Do you? Eyes are closed. Black makeup. You guys can all slow this down. Boom. Eyes turn white. Isn't that interesting? Blinks right there. You can see black eye makeup when she blinks right there. These aren't her eyelids. They're her actual eyes. You guys need to use critical thinking, because you're watching witchcraft. You need to know who these people are. What's going on? Black eye makeup? Nope.
It could be some form of trickery with contact lenses, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we're just watching another witch perform a ritual on a stage regardless.
Google says their quantum chip, their new computer chip, has gained access to parallel universes. Yeah, you can replay that if you want, but you heard me right. Google says their new quantum chip, shown here, may not have only proven that the multiverse actually exists, but they may have gained access to those parallel universes. I hope this hasn't caused anything weird to happen on Earth in the past few weeks. Yeah, there's stories all over about how that quantum chip has proven the multiverse exists and parallel universes are something we can contact. According to Google, this new quantum chip is so powerful, it can do math equations 10 septillion times faster than the best computer on the planet. So that quantum chip, AI, is basically light years ahead of the best computer that man had made up till now. So let me get this straight. They say they proved the multiverse exists. They say they can contact parallel universes. And since then, thousands of drones have been just going around the Earth watching us. Probably just a coincidence, you know. Yeah. Okay, Poochkies, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo!
I'm not sure about Google's quantum chip gaining access to other dimensions, but can we all agree that this has been one hell of a crazy year? I mean, we've had so much happen over this year, and now we're also seeing these drones and orbs play out in the skies. I mean, guarantee something else will happen by the end of this year.
New Mandela effect just dropped. That really got me. I'll be honest, I usually don't fall for stuff like this, but this one hit different. Let me ask you this. Where in your chest is your heart supposed to be? On your left side or on the right? Because I clearly remember throughout all of elementary school always being taught it's on our left side, and everyone I know says the same. But then again, I never really did pay attention in class, now did I? Well, apparently it's not. Everywhere I look tells me it's now in the center of your chest, maybe slightly left of center. And I don't see anything saying that we used to think it was on the left side and we've since gotten a more accurate understanding of our biology and updated it. Everything's just gaslighting me into believing that it's always been in the center, which if you went to school after CERN opened the black hole in 2012 that we got sucked inside of and are now all living in an alternate dimension, you probably don't remember this one. Or you're just not from my timeline.
I've always remembered the heart being located in the center rather than the left side of the chest. I mean, for you, have you always remembered it being located in the left side or the center?
AI Jesus is now taking confessions at a small church in Switzerland, and I wish I could say that this was fake, but oh no, it's very, very real, and we have video of it. We're going to jump into the details of the article soon, but as you can see, there is a gaming PC with a vertical monitor hooked up in one side of the confession booth that hooks up the artificial Jesus that you'll be hearing and seeing in just a moment to some sort of AI to take your confession for you. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute this video.
Do not disclose personal information under any circumstances. Use this service at your own risk. Press the button if you accept.
Sure, why not? Until now.
It is. That's a lot. But yeah, this church thinks it's acceptable for you to step into a confessional booth with a gaming PC, hit a button, and talk to ChatGPT's version of Jesus so that you may be absolved of your sins. I find this incredibly disturbing and creepy, especially because what if the church just decides to keep all of your confessional data? What if they build their own confessional AI to either better manipulate you or to blackmail you? You're basically just giving your life story to the church, maybe not to a priest or a pastor, but to a gigantic, unthinking amalgam of technology and large language models. It's very scary, and I thought this was fake, but I did look it up. Here is the small church that it's in Switzerland, Peter's Chapel. It doesn't appear to be the world's biggest organization, and again, they have their own press release. What's even more concerning is that about 2/3 of participants told the outlet that they came out of the tech-assisted confessional having had a spiritual experience. So on 2 out of 3 people that would normally use confessionals, this just seems to work. One woman said, "He helped me with questions I had, like how can I help people understand him better and come closer to him?" But they were taking advice from a large language model and treating it like a god. They say, though it's a machine, it gave me so much advice, also from a Christian point of view. I felt taken care of and I felt really consoled. So the church said this was just an experiment. We wanted to launch the discussion by letting people try this to have a foundation for talking about it and discussing it with one another. AI Jesus is apparently available 24 hours a day, whereas other pastors aren't. But my God, I find this creepy.
This is weird and concerns me for people who are vulnerable, because they're talking to this image that talks back to them, and they're treating this image as if it's God himself. Those who are saying that they've had spiritual experiences can lead them to become more reliant, addicted, obsessed with this thing, to the point where they could actually lose sight of who God truly is.
Seattle overnight. So look at the message here that our photographer found near Dexter Avenue in the northbound lanes of the highway there. It reads, "One less CEO, many more to go." We don't know who's responsible for this message, which agency operates the sign, whether it's WatchDOT, SDOT, or a private company, and how this could have happened. So we're certainly going to let you know what we find out when we get some answers.
You can't watch that clip and not give this video a like. Go on, you'll be supporting the next upset to CEOs if you do.
The dots I'm about to connect are insane. I'm sure you've heard that we have a lot of stuff going on. Some of that, a lot of stuff, is the Pope opening the 5 rituals, the doorways, or whatever he wants to call it. But does this look familiar to you? I'm not going to put it on here, but this is the sigil of Lucifer. Go Google it if you dare. Here are the coordinates for the portals that they say they're going to open. Why are they opening the portals? Why is it shaped like Lucifer's sigil? And why is it going on while everything else is going on? We have these things in the sky right now. It's like the veil is so thin we can see things that are happening in the air. But what are these things? Last night I showed an example of how some of these things were angels. Fallen angels, normal angels, obviously demons. But this right here was the clip that the news itself used. What do you notice about this? Again, it looks just like a star. An out-of-focus star captured by a telescope looks just like this. What does the Bible infer that stars are many times? Angels, fallen angels, like the stars falling from heaven. This is this. Just like this recording right here is this. Just as the things that were just recorded over Washington, D.C.'s Capitol look just like the stars Sirius recorded from a phone. Not to mention electronics everywhere have been acting very, very weird. Not just in Teslas. Which is another symptom of spiritual things. Look at the angel flying in front of the thing. That alone should have been its own video. Not that they are spiritual, but many are.
There's just something very odd about all this. I mean, it's almost like whatever it is, it's preparing for something big, or this could just be one big joke on a mass scale. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding this.
How the word murder gets this neat little makeover as soon as it applies to the people in power, isn't it? The trick is brilliant in its simplicity. Control the language and you control the blame. They've got this highly polished, airtight definition of murder that just happens to exclude all of their favorite ways to do it. War, not murder. The farther you sit from the blast, the cleaner your language gets. In the village where the bombs are dropped, it's blood and screaming and missing body parts and death. Murder. In the war room, it's just collateral damage written on a spreadsheet. Police shooting unarmed civilians, that's not murder. That's authorized use of justified force. Your baby brother dies from an insurance claim denial. That's not murder. That's standard exclusion. A mega corporation dumps toxins in your water supply. Again, that's not murder. That's an environmental externality. See, the powerful don't murder people. They manage resources. They don't starve people. They optimize their allocations. And they definitely don't unalive civilians. They maintain order. It's not murder if they rebrand it as a necessary sacrifice for the bottom line or the shareholders or, you know, whoever's trying to make money off of murder. Sometimes it's just the cost of doing business. So here's my question. If they get to decide what words mean, who gave them the power to make that decision? What if we stop accepting their definitions? What if we rip up their dictionary? What happens on the day that we strip away their sanitized bullshit language and start calling it by its name?
We've seen the use of doublespeak more over the past 4 years now. For example, you know, that's not murder, that's safe non-compulsory vaccines.
Have you ever heard of third man syndrome?
No.
Okay. Super weird. So third man syndrome has been explained by scientists of kind of a weird phenomenon that happens with mountain climbers. So these people who are climbing on mountains who are on the edge of death or edge of just giving up have experienced very similar things at different times, unrelated to each other, where they see a person that motivates them or gives them proper advice to continue moving forward. There are people like, okay, my parents weren't mountain climbing, but this happened and it cannot be explained. And then I found a story, and it was this woman who had heard a voice in her head that said, go see a doctor about your brain. And so she was depressed. She was having some trouble. So she went to a psychiatrist, go to this place. It was a specific part of the London hospital that dealt with brain injuries. And the voices told her that she had a tumor. They discovered a tumor.
Oh my gosh.
And they were able to remove it, and then she continued to leave. And then when she went home, she heard the voice one more time for the rest of her life, and it said, we were glad to be of service.
Ew, weird.
This actually happened to me when I was about 16 or 17. Me and my old mate, we used to always go camping most weekends. And so one weekend we decided to camp out in this barn. And in order to get into this barn, there was like a small hole, enough for you to crouch into. So that night we went and bought a load of drink. We went inside, pitched up our tent, and we kicked off our shoes and just, you know, had the crack and a drink. And we drank most of the night, and at about 2 o'clock in the morning we decided to go up to the mountain that was, you know, directly behind the barn. So we went up there for a walk, got to the top of the mountain, and then we came back, and by the time we came back we were practically sober. It was about half four in the morning. And I remember as we were approaching the tent, I heard this voice, approaching the barn, I heard this voice in my head that said that we were in danger. And I can't explain the feeling, but I remember like feeling very anxious and weary. And I remember saying to Alan, I says, look, Alan, when we get in here, make sure that you don't, you know, kick off your shoes or your jacket or anything. And he looked at me weird, because the whole night we were just having the crack, having a laugh, joking about, and just being idiots. And for me to turn around and say that at the end of the night was just a bit weird. But anyways, we got inside the tent and he didn't listen. He kicked off his shoes and his jacket and turned the light on. And then within about a minute or so, we heard an old ringtone, like a Nokia 3610. And it rang off, and it sounded like it was either in the barn or just literally outside the barn. And you could tell whoever it was trying to scramble to turn that ringtone off on their phone. And me and Alan just looked at each other, you know, turned off the light, and he was putting on his shoes slowly, trying to be quiet about it. But next minute, 2 shots fired out. And when 2 shots fired out, me and him just panicked and kind of scrambled. And I told him to go out first. And the reason being was because as you get out of the barn, there's tall grass. Now it was wet and windy that night. But I told him to go out first. And so we ran out down to the forest. And then, like, not long after, I could hear this faint voice. And I was like, and he was saying my name, and I was like, it was Alan, and I was like, where are you? And I had to retrace my steps, and it turned out that he fell down this ditch, so I had to go and help him out. And we were covered, we were soaking from the waist down. Thought I would go ahead and share that with you. I was going to leave it for part of the testimony, because like I've had dreams that's come true. I've also had my own close call of Final Destination. Again, that was with Alan, but I'll lay all that information on to you once I have a testimony done for you. But yeah, I just pretty much thought I'd go ahead and share that with you.
Godlike digitals and super intelligence, they can take over the world. At least when there's an evil dictator, that human is going to die. But for an AI, there would be no death. It would live forever. And then you have an immortal dictator from which we can never escape.
You can't make this up. So while he literally describes the Antichrist, we have this right here. Science reveals the face of God. And it looks a lot like Mr. Tony Musk, as we can see right here. So apparently there was a study that surveyed 511 American Christians that yielded an image of what the participants believe God looks like. And apparently this is what they came up with. Unbelievable. But now back to this video right here, which he literally described the Antichrist. I mean, he is talking about a dictator who connects with this artificial intelligence God, who is then immortal and controls the whole world. That's literally the Antichrist, guys. The churches need to wake up. This is it, guys. We are at the end. This is the end game. The technology is here, and it's so clear to see the end time scenario where the man of lawlessness will be tied into some type of artificial intelligence, making him practically a god, connecting to the prince of the power of the air, where all the signals and all the Wi-Fi and frequency is, having complete control of the web down here, the grid, through technology. It is so clear once your eyes are open, but yet the pulpits are silent. The churches are not preparing their flock. But this is why Bible prophecy is your protection against deception. And when you know Bible prophecy, you then can see what's going on in the world and see the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall is that the Antichrist will use this technology to mimic God with omnipresence, omnipotence, being able to see everywhere through surveillance, through cameras, able to know everything because of the data collected, and able to control everybody through this technology, where one day people will merge with this technology, all being connected together to the hive mind. This will be the Tower of Babel 2.0. Now, I understand I have been focusing on this matter quite a bit, but the reason why I am doing so is because the mainstream church, the pulpits, are failing God's flock of what's going on right now, not preparing God's people, for we realize, Hosea 4:6, God's people perish due to the lack of knowledge. And to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, get the message out. We share the gospel. We always lead people to Jesus, to eternal life in Messiah, but we need to wake people up to the reality of what's going on right now, where there is going to be a false gospel that you can have immortality through technology. And we are witnessing the Trojan horse of these individuals pulling people back into the world, tempting them with the pride of life and the lust of the flesh. And this is why we see 1 John 2:15, to not love the world nor the things in the world. And also we see with James chapter 4, that if you are a friend with the world, you are an enemy against God. So when you see these individuals speaking about uniting humanity together, about freedom and liberty, understand that's exactly what happened at the Tower of Babel, uniting humanity to rebel against God. And also in the garden, where the serpent promised freedom and liberty, but it actually brought bondage. While Mr. Tony Musk and Golden Dawn lead people over here on the broad path that leads to destruction, we as believers in Christ, as watchmen on the wall, need to warn God's flock and lead people to the narrow gate. I mean, I really cannot stress this enough. This is serious, and I hope that your eyes are open to the reality of the world that we live in right now. So with that, we do not allow this information to cause fear and anxiety, but urgency, and to be prepared spiritually and mentally, not being deceived in this world. We are soldiers of Christ, warriors of God, and He is the mighty warrior that goes forth. So seek Him with all your heart, mind, and soul. Get the gospel out and love on others, okay? By giving them truth. We give people truth. That is how you love them. You do not allow them to believe lies, and you wake them up from their slumber. So with that, guys, I love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live.
Elon looking like Jesus is just trolling at this point. I mean, the way AI has been over the past few years, the push for a new AI religion by the WEF, the AI Jesus that's in Switzerland, and Project BB, you can see how easy it could be for people to be deceived.
Reading this report recently, and I just want you to take a look at it. I think it's pretty important, and it's by the UN, which is a pretty large international organisation. As you can see, it was written in March 2000, 24 years ago, almost 25, and it is So what this report does is it talks about the aging populations that are in the specific countries that are mentioned here. I'll show you on the next slide. And it gives 5 scenarios that they go through. So they planned out 5 potential scenarios that could happen. And the scenarios are keeping up the current level of population, not doing anything to change the current level of population, just leaving the people as they stand, slight increase to maintain the working age, increase to maintain this age, and then an increase to consistently replace the people who are of the working age. So 5 scenarios played out. How many people would they need to hit what the class as a replacement population? Now, I don't want to say the words on here, but what it's basically talking about is schmillegal schmimmigration, we'll call it, and the amounts of people that would need to meet what we would call replacement. Now, we have an ageing population. So what the UN are saying is, look, this many people are hitting a specific age, and that's going to put a lot of strain on the services, the NHS and so on and so forth, because they're not going to be in the working population, but they still will be a tax on the nation, effectively. So we need to look at what would happen if we bring in replacement numbers. People aren't giving birth at high enough numbers to replace the current population. There's not enough babies being born. Populations are going to drop, and as a result, GDP will drop, society in the country will suffer. So we need to have enough people in the country to meet replacement levels. So the scenarios, as we can see, 1 million. Yeah, everything here is times thousands. You can see in brackets up there, it's times 1,000. So 1,000 thousands, 1 million. So to maintain the current levels we have now and not increase our national amount of people in the country, 1 million. 0, basically don't do any replacement whatsoever, just let the country carry on as normal. Constant total population, so this is a replacement amount, 2.6 million. This is enough people to replace the working age population, 15 to 64, 6.2 million. And this is to consistently keep rolling over 15 to 64 years old. So basically, keep the working age consistently rolling over non-stop. And we're looking at 59 million. That's how many schmillegal schmimmigrants would need to be brought into the country. And this was the UN writing this in 2000, 25 years ago. So in the paper, the projected population decline and population ageing will have a profound and far-reaching consequences, forcing governments to reassess many established economic, social and political policies and programs, including those related to international schmigration. Schmimmigrants. So basically what they're saying is, too many people are getting to this age, we haven't got enough people to replace them because there's not enough babies being born. We need to bring some people to replace these. Well, where are we going to get them from? If only we knew. Further down the study, maintaining potential support ratios in current levels through the replacement schmigration alone seems out of reach, because the extraordinarily large numbers of schmigrants that would be required. So basically what they're saying here is to meet scenario 5 is just completely out of reach, because you would need to have such massive numbers doing what they're doing currently across, a body of water and getting on the brum brum and pulling up on the sand and into the country. The numbers that would need to be required are so ridiculously high that this scenario, this report said, it's just not feasible. The strain that it would put on the country, the types of social issues it would cause, lack of integration, these kind of things, this report says, too big a concern, it's very unlikely for that to happen. So I did a little bit of digging. And the bit of digging I did was to do the maths and say, right, okay, so what are the numbers that they're talking about that we would need to hit this completely unlikely scenario that they just can't fathom because of the amount of people it would require and the strain it would put on the country, and especially from a social perspective. And the amount was 500,000 per annum. Pretty much kind of what we're aiming towards right now. So the completely ridiculous scenario that this in 2000 said, no, not likely to happen, is looking likely to happen. Now look, this was written in 2000, and they said it was a ridiculous idea, and they did say that there was a lot of societal issues that this would cause. But it's happening anyway. We need to ask ourselves why. Stop talking, fooling ourselves into thinking it's not happening on purpose, and realise this was written about 25.
I'd say this was well planned prior to 2000. I'm all for people coming over and making a living. You're more than welcome to do so. However, we've not seen one woman or child enter Western countries in the past few years, all military-aged men. But they did say that, you know, it was going to be the Great Reset.
What the fuck? It's supposed to be Christmas music.
One of those orbs just shot down a drone. I'm about to show you footage from Phoenix. Something else is going on, guys. Why is this happening at 2 o'clock in the morning?
He's like right there with it. Oh, he's like right on it. Ooh. That, whatever it was, just shut down the drone. If that was a drone.
I told y'all those drones were there for those orbs. That's why the drones have been in the sky. Because of the orbs. What are the orbs? Fuck the drones. The drones are ours. What are the orbs? I'll tell you this. They sure as hell do not seem to be human.
Maybe this is the war everyone was talking about back on the 3rd of December, and maybe the aliens just all had a cup of tea, a chat, and just watched some conspiracy theories, and then just decided to start the war after that.
You guys, I finally cracked the code on the 2 crazy conspiracy theories that Luigi Mangione left for us to figure out, and I put it all together. The theory about the Monopoly money in the bag, and the theory about the number 286 connect, and I found out what he was trying to tell us. If you need a reminder, on December 4th, a masked man shot at point-blank range United Healthcare Group CEO Brian Thompson, unaliving him. And surprisingly, very rich Ivy League valedictorian genius Luigi Mangione was detained for the crime, but not before leaving behind a weird trail of hints for us. First, like some cartoonish villain, he left behind a backpack filled with Monopoly money. Why point our direction to Monopoly? He also made sure his social medias were carefully left in place to be investigated, almost like a crime scene. His Twitter header was a random Pokemon, a photo of his back surgery that went terrible, and maybe a photo of his athletic life that the healthcare system took away from him. Now pay attention to how many times the numbers 286 appear. Pokemon have numbers, and Burloom is Pokemon number 286. And Burloom is nobody's favorite Pokemon. No one would have that in their header. How many posts does he have on his Twitter? 286. A few days later, Luigi was eventually caught in a McDonald's exactly 286 miles away from the crime scene. But why go so far? Because he allegedly fled from New York City on Highway 286 to Pennsylvania. But why 286? Because he wants to bring attention to Insurance Denial Code 286, which basically talks about when an insurance claim is denied by a healthcare group and never appealed in time so the patient suffers. Even Proverb 286 says, better a poor man who walk in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways. National Insurance Day is even the 20th day of June. But here's the craziest part, you guys. I was investigating, trying to figure out how the number 286 connects to Monopoly. So I blatantly asked ChatGPT, and they said the total number of items sold in a Monopoly box for you to be able to play the game is added up to 286 pieces. What? And the total number of blocks in that game is 286. And if we look closer at this Monopoly board, do you remember how we went from New York to Highway 286 to Pennsylvania and then to jail? On this specific side of the Monopoly board, that is the exact route he took. New York, Pennsylvania, jail. So myself, along with a lot of people, think he went to jail on purpose, and I think the rest of the board could be clues for other people playing, because as the quote goes, no one plays Monopoly alone. How do we know who he's playing with or colluding with on this crime? Guess the specific number of people his cousin is following on Twitter. Nino Mangione is following 286 people. Will he be his get out of jail free card? I feel like there's more to all of this. This means something, and I'll keep further investigating.
There's definitely more to the story, with people even saying that they haven't even caught the right guy, that in the original photos his eyebrows were more separated, among a few other things. So what's your thoughts on this? I mean, do you think they have caught the right guy? Do you think there's something more to this? Do you agree with what he did?
I'll go half on a sack if you want to. Don't shoot, my hands are up. Que te gusta de mi nuevo sombrero, señor? Meow. motherfucker. A bird vanishes when the skies forget its name. I don't know what Owen Wilson says, but you could just plug something in there. Oh, it's such a joy to be part of this neighborhood. Ooh, I know, ooh. Oh, shit, here she comes. That's the best I got. Oh, it's so lonely out here. How you like our new teeth? I just got a hood in. Whoa!
Thanks everyone for watching, and remember, it's for entertainment purposes only. But if you did make it this far, smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, as it really does help grow the channel. It helps me out and helps push the videos out to the algorithm as well. But until the next video, guys, please look after yourselves, stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you then.